Open Your Eyes is brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Paul Lopez.
I'm Elise Gayon Vernon.
And good morning again and welcome. Elise, we are still in Placencia this morning, so we continue our morning show, a special coverage from Placencia in collaboration with the Caribbean Broadcasting Union. And, well, let me just say, first of all, it's raining cats and dogs.
It is. It's pouring outside.
And it's been pouring since last night. Interestingly, I messaged some friends back in Belize City, and I was told that they're not getting any type of rain or any sort of experience like this, and so that's quite interesting. But so if you hear the thunders roaring in the background, just know we're not playing and dancing in the background. It's really the thunder, right? And so that's what we're experiencing here. But Elise, really last night was an exciting night celebrating journalists and media workers from across the region, recognizing the hard work that they've put in by way of the CBU Awards. Now, let me just say, first of all, you and William, you both did an excellent job hosting. Talk a bit about the experience and what that was like for you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I love seeing everyone's reactions when they heard their names. Like we said Trinidad and even Belize, and the faces just lit up, and that was my favorite part personally.
Yeah.
But also to know that these individuals, they work so hard and that their accomplishments are being admired, they're being seen, and I think that is so important, especially in this era of social media and everything. You know, it is very important that we see your work and that we acknowledge the work that you put in. And I know that Belize also won some awards and some special mentions last night. Yeah,
so let me just say right off the bat, I have a list of top performers in terms of the countries that outperformed themselves. So top performers, you had top performers from, it was basically Jamaica.
I said Jamaica quite a few times.
Yeah,
to the point where the young lady had to stand at the end of the stage just to come right back up again.
She had a whole cardio workout.
Definitely.
And so the organization with the largest number of wins last night was RJR Gleaner Communications Group from Jamaica with 16 awards and 4 special mentions across its media services, right? And then we had Belize next in line, Great Belize Productions, Channel 5 with 8 wins and 2 special mentions as well. And then we had Trinidad and Tobago was well represented as well with Trinidad Express fielding 5 award winners and garnering 4 special mentions. From that country, TTT Limited was next in line with 4 awards as well as a special mention. And then the Guardian Group was successful in 5 categories with 2 awards for CNC3 as well as 2 special mentions for the television service and 1 for the print arm, the Guardian newspaper. We actually, just a sneak peek into what to expect after this, we actually have a journalist, a reporter from Trinidad.
From Trinidad, yes.
Who's been here since over the weekend, and he will be joining us on set basically to talk a bit about his experience and what that's like. But let me not get ahead of myself because Kalain will come on later on in the show. But yes, I am extremely proud of the way the whole show played out last night and the fact that here in Belize we truly got to appreciate and appreciate our journalists and our media workers. I appreciate the fact that this award show does not only recognize journalists or reporters, those who perhaps in our context write the scripts and put together the story ideas, but also those behind the scenes. So the director, for example,
Yes.
the producers, the cameramen, the editors. It's one big operation, and every single person that plays a role in that operation is critical, 100% critical to ensuring that it all plays out the way it's supposed to. I wish, actually, I'm going to ask that they bring one or two of the awards on set so that we could
Oh, definitely.
display it. I should have asked
And
earlier.
Belize actually won Best Director as well.
So, yes, so Rick Romero won Best Director. I heard
And I
you
was
were
surprised.
excited.
I was so surprised because it was actually a story that we did together when I was Miss World Belize, and I saw myself with a cow on the screen, and that surprised me. But
Yeah.
that was incredible, and congratulations again to everyone who won an award last night.
Yeah, so the awards were designed and created in Belize, right? So just to take note of that, there's a symbol on top of the award. It's actually a jaguar. It's a jaguar head, and it represents courage, right? So for being a part of this field, this media field takes courage. It takes
A lot of courage.
courage and boldness. And so for those who may not have been aware what the symbol represents, they think, oh, this is just a beautiful design. No, it has a meaning, and that meaning is courage in terms of the jaguar. Now, like you said, we won several awards. For myself, I was able to garner three awards.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I am completely humbled, especially given the fact that I'm here to receive those awards. For me, that meant the world when I think about not only my personal journey, but my journey as a reporter, as a journalist, and when I think about how that has been, right? To be able to be present, to receive the CBU Awards meant a lot. I think I got emotional for the first one, at least when my name was called the first time. I got a bit emotional because as I was walking on the stage, I was reflecting on the journey and all that it has taken to get here. And I know 100% if they would have allowed us to give a speech, probably some big man tears would be coming down from my eyes. So
You sure you're not gonna cry right now?
no, I'm not gonna
Okay.
cry right now. I got some rest. I think I was probably just hungry last night too, so that's where the emotions came from. But I got some rest last night. But also we had Hipólito Novello
Yes.
from Channel 5 who also did his thing. Sosa who also did his thing. And so like you rightly mentioned, we want to say congratulations to every single person that won an award tonight. It's a big deal, and it's definitely worth celebrating. And overall, Elise, I mean, we have to congratulate the Channel 5 team as well
Definitely.
for pulling off this entire event. Your thoughts on how the event went as a whole, and if there's anything that stood out to you about last night that you really liked?
I think the entire event went flawlessly. I quite enjoyed it. I know that everyone in the audience also enjoyed it. I loved the performances.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was so nice to share Belizean talent with everyone in the audience and as well as the viewers at home. So I think that is something noteworthy.
Yeah, 100%. We've been talking about it throughout the entirety of this weekend and week. The fact that Belize has so much to offer culturally. We have so much to offer by way of ethnicities and by way of diversity. And I feel like we've been able to somehow sprinkle a bit of that in everything that we've been able to accomplish weekend, and so to see the performances last night was quite an incredible thing to witness. These dancers were exceptional. For example, Kokono Boy came on stage. Kokono Boy is a Belizean icon per
Yes.
se, right? And to have Kokono Boy come all the way to Placencia to perform for our Caribbean.
And I saw some people dancing in the audience, so I
Of
know they enjoyed
course.
it.
You can't have Kokono Boy and stand like, no, you have to.
I was dancing a little bit.
You
but
were dancing a little
just
bit.
a little bit.
Well, I mean, you had on those high heels, so you had to be careful how you move,
Yes,
right?
that's true.
Yeah, so definitely. But Kokono Boy stole the show last night as well, and overall, it was certainly a great experience for, at least, I mean, for you. Let's talk a bit about also what it was like working alongside William, because William he's known, he does this, but what was that like for you?
I mean, I am relatively new to this,
You are.
this entire media thing, but it was so nice to work alongside someone who is seasoned, and he had a lot of tips and pointers for me, and he really helped me and guided me through the event, so thank you, William, for that. And I think we were able to pull it off. I'm so happy that he was by my side to help me do so. And I think this partnership is something that I could look forward to.
For you, like, what's the process or the thought process you have to go through when you take on such a huge challenge, at least a personal challenge?
You know, everybody asks me if I'm nervous, and I tell them no, I'm not nervous until I'm standing at the podium, looking at the crowd, and then it hits me like, oh, this is real, and then I have to snap myself out of it. And I think Miss World really helped me with that, with working an audience and everything. But the experience itself is something that helps me grow, and that is how I see it, and that's what I want other people to take from what I'm saying right now. That never say no, and that is what I live by. And if I have to try something new and step out of my comfort zone, which standing in front of that stage, hearing how big of a deal this award ceremony is, definitely put me out of my comfort zone. But it's something that I'm always happy to do, and I hope others want to do that the same way.
Yeah, and so congratulations to you once again for stepping out of your comfort zone. I think that's huge, and we all should be striving towards saying yes as much as possible versus saying no, because you never know the doors and the opportunities that exist there. Also, by way of a huge announcement last night, do you remember where the next CBU will take place, CBU Awards, where they'll host it? You saw that announcement last night, right?
Yes, I was right there.
Yeah.
I do believe it is Barbados.
It is Barbados. So next year we're packing our bags and we're heading to Barbados for the 56th annual CBU Annual General Assembly, as well as the award shows. This is where all the journalists and media workers will congregate in Barbados. They had a very interesting twist to their introductory commercial.
Oh, yes.
Or their ad for the event. You saw it, right? You saw the way they played out with the note in a bottle.
Yes.
Yeah. So and all of that, to me, captures very well what can be expected in Barbados in terms of their beautiful beaches, the coastline. I mean,
they do have an incredible scenery there. It's beautiful.
You've been
it's something
there?
to look forward to. No,
Okay,
I have friends there.
You have friends there.
And I always see the pictures, so I know it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's 100% something to look forward to. But also, we have to definitely highlight or send a huge shout out to the sponsors as well. I don't necessarily have the full list on me of sponsors from last night's award ceremony, but I know there's
quite a
huge
few
list of sponsors.
And thank you to the representatives who came on stage to deliver the awards as well.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. I think it's also a proud moment for sponsors to be here to represent, basically be able to support this type of work. Yes. And so it's paramount that they're here, that they meet the journalists, that they distribute the awards, and it also shows that you have you have companies and organizations out there that really support the work, the media work, and sees media work as important and as critical for democracy as well, for the functioning of a functioning nation, right? And so 100% we say thank you to all those sponsors that continues to get behind the awards and continue to push for greater support for journalists. And as I understand it, next year I think another sponsor is coming on to, that announcement was made last night. I have to get the exact organization, but they also announced their intent to sponsor a couple more awards. So this thing is only going to get bigger,
and
bigger and bigger.
Something that I love is that they featured the environment so much in climate change, because we know that that is a pressing matter, especially here in Belize. We have seen the effects with Hurricane Beryl, with increased flooding and forest fires. So it's so important that we do take note of this and acknowledge that this is happening. And I'm so proud to say that the media is bringing it into the front light and you know, showing it to the public and showing how important it is that we see this and take a hold of the issue at hand. Yeah,
and so there are several awards given out in this category. We had Best Climate Change News Item, sponsored by 5Cs. So in that category, we had a special mention was Guardian Newspapers, Trinidad and Tobago's History at COP28, Loss and Damage Fund adopted, and that's actually by Kalain Hussein, who's going to be on set with us this morning. So he received special mention in that category. I'm trying to see who won that category. We also had Best Climate Change Investigative Report, also sponsored by the 5Cs, and that story was, the award for that story was These Classrooms Are Furnaces by Sashana Small, and
and she's of course from Jamaica.
Jamaica, that's the young lady that kept walking up.
Yes.
The RJR Gleaner Communications.
And I must say, she looked beautiful walking up on the stage.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And how do you keep yourself composed for that amount of walking and that amount of going up and down the steps? So she did an incredible job. And so overall, great show last night. Once again, congratulations to all those who were nominated, all those who received special mentions, all those who received their awards. Definitely something to be proud of. And just to be here in this space among journalists has been an and media workers, like-minded media workers, has been an exciting time. But what we're going to do now, Elise, is we are going to jump into our break. But right before that, let's give the viewers a bit of what they can expect from the show this morning. In our first segment, like we said earlier, we'll be joined by Kalain Hussein, who's a reporter, meteorologist over at the Guardians Media Limited. That's in our first segment. What do we have in our second segment?
Segment 2 is Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General, CARICOM.
Yeah, and then in our third segment, we'll be speaking with Mark Curl, and he's a representative at ATSC. And finally, segment 4 is our own Marlene Cuellar, CEO of Great Belize Productions. 100%. So we have some exciting conversations coming up, guys. You want to stay tuned. You don't want to miss these segments. But before we get into all of that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Kalain Hussein, a reporter and meteorologist from Guardian Media Limited in Trinidad and Tobago. Stay tuned.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't let this plan. I can't let this plan.
The Belize Airports Authority, BAA, oversees 13 public aerodromes along with the Philip Golson International Airport. BAA manages key public aerodromes such as the Sir Barabone Municipal Airport, Key Cocker Municipal Airport, John Grief II Airport, Placencia Municipal Airport, Sartaneja Airstrip, Punta Gorda Municipal Airstrip, Pelican Beach Municipal Airstrip, Matthew Spain Airstrip, Privacion Airstrip, Ranchito Municipal Airstrip, His Excellency Alfredo Martinez Municipal Airstrip, and Hector Silva Airstrip. The BAA's mission is to manage and administer designated airports, ensuring the provision of essential services and facilities. Belize Airports Authority, Belize's foremost provider of aerodrome services. For more information, visit BelizeAirportsAuthority.com.
It's that time of the year again. It's back to school time at Cellular World with a variety on tech gadgets at guaranteed low prices. Make it a cool back to school with the latest tech tools and specialized bundles designed to suit every student, teacher, or parent's needs. Hurry up and take advantage of massive discounts on our tablet bundles starting at an unbeatable price of $179. All-in-one printer starting at just $189. And laptop bundles starting at an all-time low price of just $879. But wait, there's more. Shop with us now and get a free school bag with select purchases. Visit us today to shop for our selection of phones starting at only $79. TVs at just $449. Earbuds, smartwatches, monitors, office chairs, computer accessories, and so much more. When it comes to tech, we've got it all. Stop in to shop with us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Pedro, or Arindra, or WhatsApp us at 615-5141. That is 615-5141 to shop virtually. Cellular World, low prices, more choices.
Child marriage is not just a legal issue. It's a matter of human rights and a form of gender-based violence. It often emerges from cultural beliefs and influence of closed-minded relatives, depriving children of their basic human rights to freedom, security, education, and a voice.
Of your favorite Tuesday night entertainment. KTV The Remix Season 6 is here. Join us for an exciting night and a chance to win fabulous prizes. Plus compete in our halftime challenge. Get your tickets for just $5. Available at Channel 5 and Coney Drive and 88 Shopping Center. Can't make it in person? No problem. Watch it live on Channel 5 or stream it on Facebook and YouTube. The fun starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 6. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
Hi, my name is Lincoln Fowers and I work at UMall. 100% I will recommend Belize Bank mobile banking to everyone because it saves time, money, and gas price because gas price is high right now. Belize Bank mobile banking just make life easier.
lap of luxury to lands untouched by time, where ancient civilizations once thrived, where their spirit still lives on today, and where you can leave everything else behind and grab life. Plan your trip today.
Welcome back. This is our first segment for this morning, and as we promised you, we have a journalist, a reporter, meteorologist on set with us, Khalid Hussein from Trinidad, actually, and he's here in Belize, several purposes. One, Khalid, you're here obviously for the CBU General Assembly. You're here for the award show, but you're also a part of a 5Cs initiative, climate change initiatives, to basically bring journalists from across the region around one table to discuss climate change issues as well as climate reporting. But good morning to you, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. But I want to start by getting to know you a little bit, who you are, where you work, and how you got into journalism in a whole.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm like Paul mentioned, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I've been in the journalism, at least traditional journalism field, since 2019.
Wow.
And I would have started off at Guardian Media Limited, and I'm still there as their weather, climate, and environment reporter, as well as their broadcast meteorologist. But when it comes to my climate reporting, that only started towards the end of 2022. I would have applied and been selected for a fellowship with Earth Journalism Network to take me to COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. And that's where, you know, I drowned in the deep end there.
Did you?
Because for anybody who's been to a COP or the UNFCCC climate conference, they know how chaotic it is. And, you know, I learned so much from other veterans in the field in climate reporting, as well as their own training, and produced quite a bit of stories from those conferences. And because of those stories, that's when I applied to the CBU last year and won several awards then.
Last year you were a serial winner.
That's what everybody keeps saying. That's what everybody keeps saying. But I mean, Belize did amazing at those awards as well. I remember seeing Rick running up and down and collecting awards, being behind the camera in Antigua. And then now here I am for the second awards that I've applied to, in the second CBU assembly as well.
Talk a bit about your thoughts when you saw the theme for this year, media and the environment, and what sort of reflections did you have when you saw that?
I was really happy to see that, you know, CBU has taken front before front took them, we say in Trinidad, with, you know.
Front took them.
Yeah, but they went with looking at the environment and how that affects not only journalists, but the media landscape as a whole. And we heard yesterday at several of their panels about how the media landscape has changed and how editors should be, you know, prioritizing environment, weather, climate stories as well, especially when they impact so many people across the region. And, you know, it doesn't come as a surprise to me, because if you have been following a lot of the CARICOM heads of government meetings, they've been putting climate change at the forefront of many of their discussions, and it seems to be a topic that has gained regional prominence. So, you know, it's something that we're seeing a lot more conversations about in the region, whether it's at the national level or even at the local levels. You have a lot more people talking about it because they're being impacted by our changes in climate.
Now, we are familiar with the issues here in Belize as climate change continues to affect livelihoods, it continues to displace people as well, and just kind of shift entire ways of living. What does these stories look like in Trinidad and Tobago? And one would imagine there's some similarities in what you cover where climate change is concerned in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, one of the things that I discovered, especially when I went to the COPs, is that all of our Caribbean countries share similar issues to small islands in the Indian Ocean, small islands in the Pacific Ocean. We not only do we have a shared history when it comes to colonialism, but we also have a shared history and a shared experience, a lived experience in the issues that we face today, from rising temperatures, extreme rainfall, rising sea levels, displacement, as you mentioned. I mean, Belize was probably one of the original climate refugee situation by moving your capital as a result of a hurricane.
Correct.
Back in the, it was the late 1900s, 1990s. Yeah, I heard a lot about it in my short time here in Belize so far, and it's been a great experience. But, you know, we all have very similar experiences, and I believe that, you know, there's strength in unity, and the fact that a lot of our governments are working together to tackle the same issues in lockstep with each other.
Yeah, you speak like a true climate change reporter, and I could tell you have a vast amount of knowledge on the topic. Now, let's talk a bit about your experience with the 5 Cs workshops. And we've been together, myself, yourself, and a group of journalists from across the region. We've been together since Saturday, getting to know each other, getting to understand the different passions we have. I've actually made it my business to have 1 or 2 conversations, meaningful conversations, or at least insightful conversations with these journalists, reporters from across the region, to kind of get a feel of what it's like doing this work in your countries, as well as what leads you on in terms of your passion. But for you, what stood out about this go around in terms of the 5 Cs training?
So I think specifically this, because full disclosure, this is my 3rd time doing this sort of workshop with the 5 Cs.
Yeah.
The 5 Cs have been moving around the Caribbean region doing workshops with journalists from 2021, 2022. Well, 2021, I attended the one in Antigua, and then this one as well. So they've changed somewhat over the years. Initially, it looking at how to storytell, the best practices in storytelling for climate change. But this specific workshop and the panels and discussions that we sat through in Belize, looking at the content that was submitted and looking at strategies in which we can utilize the science to aid in our climate reporting, as well as some of the best practices by some of the award-winning pieces from last year and this year. So that certainly will shape some of the content that I will create going forward, and I certainly hope that a lot of the other journalists who attended that training also took that away.
I know I asked earlier about what the stories look like in Trinidad and Tobago, but are there particular groups that are affected, like within the island? Do you have stories, or can you think of stories, or 1 or 2 stories that maybe impacted you where climate change is concerned? Because we've been talking a lot over this weekend and this week about the people behind the stories, the people that it really impacts, climate change impacts. What are those people's stories that you see over there?
Yeah, so some of the people's stories that I'm focusing on in the coming weeks and months, actually, looking at, though it's not the official UN term, but climate refugees. Okay. Within the next 6 years, we'll see sea level rise in Trinidad about 1/4 of a meter, and by 2050, we'll see sea level rise of just under 0.4 meters. And what that means for us is around 10% of our coastal communities, and most of our villages and cities are along the coastline. So around 10 to even 15% of our coastline will become perpetually under water. And what that means is you will start to see a large internal displacement from people who live along the coastlines. So going to the coastline, speaking to the people who's already been affected. I've interviewed folks who have lost their homes 2 or 3 times and they just keep moving inland in the same area. I've interviewed people who live in areas that get flooded about 7 times a year because they live in flood-prone areas near riverbanks, but they've adapted to what they call their new normal. That's just some of the people's stories. I mean, I'm also a diver. So I go diving off our reefs, especially in Tobago, quite a bit, and I've been fortunate to go snorkeling in Laughing Bay.
Laughing Bird.
Laughing Bird.
and you know now why they call it Laughing Bird Key, right?
Yeah, there's so many seagulls.
They're seagulls. Yeah, and when they make that noise, it sounds like a laugh. But
but we've been fortunate enough to go snorkeling there and see the works of Fragments of Hope, and also going and snorkeling and diving in Tobago, seeing the similarities of the coral reefs, the bleaching that happens at the shallower levels, because we've had so many marine heat waves recently, and the impacts that has on fisheries in our area. So those are just some of the many stories that we have a shared experience with.
Yeah. And you know, Colleen, really, while you could say these things off the top of your head, these experiences, and share these stories, it shows me, it reminds me of the important work that we have in informing people about on these issues and about these experiences that others are having, because your work puts you in a position to have all this information, to have all these experiences, and to have all this knowledge, and so that when you sit down and you have conversations with individuals like you're having right now, you're able to say these things. And I think that just makes what you do so invaluable. But Elise, you hosted the awards ceremony last night. I want to get to that a little bit. Colleen, you received several special mentions. Let's talk a bit about your experience last night, and just what it meant for you to see journalists from across the region and media workers being recognized, and what it means to you whenever you're at these award ceremonies.
Yeah, so after the last CBU Awards, where
you set a high bar.
I set an extremely high bar,
indeed.
And I think the Jamaicans took that home, and they came swinging this time around.
Hold my Jamaican party, hold my chicken. let me get at it.
But I was extremely heartened to see the journalists yesterday receiving awards and being recognized for their work. It's something that I have actually pushed for within my newsroom back home, and I was very happy to see the folks that actually applied outside of myself win awards last night for their reporting in trafficking in persons as well as youth's involvement in crime. For me personally, it was great to get the special mentions for some of my work, but I was absolutely happy to see folks like Vashani from Guyana. Yeah, she is such a young journalist that is really shooting up in the climate space.
It's incredible.
And very happy for her for winning, I believe it was the climate change documentary.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so many other stuff coming out of the newsroom in Guyana. We had so many of our colleagues as well receive special mentions. So we have Sean from Newsroom Guyana, you have Chandel, you have Esther, Shoshana, so many of them pick up awards last night, and I was very happy to see their work be highlighted. And it also shows that we go through a lot of challenges to tell climate change stories, because the news agenda of the day takes priority. So and Vishani and I mentioned in our trainings that so much of these stories are done on our personal time. So it is really nice to see that we are being recognized and awarded for that work.
Talk about that though, having to take your personal time to pursue these stories with the level of passion that you want to put behind it. But why is that the case?
Well, I think that I speak for me personally. My day-to-day is reporting on the weather and its impacts. And with a single shower or thunderstorm in Trinidad and Tobago, it causes chaos. You have floods, cars being swept away, and then because I have to sort of give direction to the company on what we can do for weather and its impacts, that takes a lot of my time away from actually doing any climate change reporting. So it's a time issue for sure. but also it's something that I'm deeply passionate about. So I am more than happy to, you know, travel to a remote area of the country, speak to the people that are being affected by whatever the issue is, whether it's sea level rise, rising temperatures, flooding and its impacts, deforestation, all of the other things that happen in our environment. I'm so happy to do that on my personal time because I like to drive, and also it gives me a chance to see my country.
Yeah, I'm sure we would be showing some shots of last night and some shots of you on stage, getting your special mentions and just being front and center in our cameras.
I'd like to hear about the stories that you received recognition for.
Exactly.
Some background, some insight.
Yeah,
Great
sure.
question.
So I received special mentions. There's 3 stories. So the first one would have been history made at COP28 with the Loss and Damage Fund established. Now,
You were at COP28.
I was at COP27 and COP28. So at the end of COP27, talks nearly collapsed because this particular fund, the Loss and Damage Fund, it has been something that small island developing states and the Alliance of Small Island Developing States have been calling for since the early 1990s when the UNFCCC was formed. This fund is expected to be able to be accessible by developing countries, small islands, that when they are disproportionately affected by the impacts of climate change, they would be able to tap into it and use those funds to build back better and become more climate resilient. And it nearly collapsed talks at COP27, but midnight decision, we stayed there for about 2 days after the conference ended, and they adopted it. It went to a transitional committee, and on the first day of COP28, a year later, it was accepted, and the World Bank will be hosting this fund, which has some problems of its own, but we got it. After 30-something years, we got it. So that was a big story to not only break, but also how does it matter for our region?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the reporting that I do at COP is not just for Trinidad and Tobago, it's for our region as well, because we've seen increasing numbers of regional journalists in the Caribbean at COP, but you still look at how many people live in the Caribbean region compared to the number of journalists that are there. So our reporting has to be regional. We have to look out for our neighbors there. The second story would have been Woodland, the saltwater crisis.
Woodland,
so, yeah,
saltwater
yeah,
crisis.
the saltwater crisis.
Okay,
so
this is Trinidad.
This is Trinidad. So this is a coastal community about 5 kilometers inland. There was a breach in the river, and saltwater, remember I told you by 2030 we're expecting to see a sea level rise of about 1/4 meter. Well, saltwater is already coming upstream and intruding into farmlands, and it still is killing off crops, killing off animals, because, you know, salt water, once it gets into the earth, everything dies.
Yeah.
It's not especially if you're looking at farmland.
Yeah, it's not inhabitable for crops.
Exactly, and this particular part of Trinidad is the breadbasket of South Trinidad. Wow. So you look at how much agriculture has been affected, and then because this breach was left unchecked for so long, that salt water started getting into people's foundations of their homes. Salt water mixed with iron, it starts to rust. It means homes will start to be cracked and collapsed, and that started to happen. So I saw this happening from another news story actually, but I was just like, let me dig a little deeper. Went to the community, spoke to the farmers, spoke to the residents, spoke to the government, and turns out there's actually a multi-US million dollar project from the Adaptation Fund that is looking to adapt specifically that river basin to climate change by building floodgates, educating the population. So not only looking at the impacts, but I tried to look at what solutions are being brought forward as well in the reporting.
Yeah, well, those are two exciting stories. I'm glad you asked that question, because I'm getting some insight that I never had before in terms of what these stories were. And I wish that we could do this for all journalists that receive recognition, so that you really get an understanding that, hey, this person didn't just write up a 5-minute story in 5 minutes and then send it up to the awards, but it actually took time and effort and energy to resources as well to get these stories done. You said you had a third one.
Yeah, so the third one would have been, why is Trinidad and Tobago flooding? So like I mentioned earlier, it takes a single shower or thunderstorm for calamity to befall Trinidad and Tobago, just because of a really high flood vulnerability index. But when you look at the reasons why, it has links to human development and the development of our country, our drainage, but also it has a link to climate change. A warmer world is a wetter world. For every degree Celsius of warming for our planet, the atmosphere holds about 7% more water. So that's why when you see these isolated showers or thunderstorms form, they produce such violent rainfall rates in a very short period of time that causes sometimes very impactful to severe flooding in some areas. So looking at the human causes, the natural causes of why Trinidad and Tobago is flooding. So got a special mention for that one too.
Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier, Colleen, is that we designed the award trophies or placards in Belize with a jaguar on top. Not only because we appreciate the jaguar, but also because it's a symbol of courage. Let's talk a bit about how courage and journalism or being a reporter correlates or relates to each other. Do you have to be courageous to be in this field? And if so, what does courage look like and mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel journalism is one of those fields where your work used to be judged by teachers in school. Your work is now being judged not only by the people in your country, but now with the proliferation of social media and how far your work can reach, it's being judged by the international community as well. So you need to have enough courage to put yourself out there, but also you need to have thick skin when the criticism starts rolling in.
Criticisms.
Yeah, and I mean, it's par for the course.
Yeah, of course.
Especially if you're working in a public-facing field, yeah? And I think you have to be extra courageous working in the climate field or environment field, because you are going against sometimes developers, government interests who may not want to see our development being held back because of environmental interests. And I was very fortunate to hear from your Prime Minister and then who was a former Minister of the Environment, seeing how Belize has placed the environment at the center of their policy making. You have so many protected areas in Belize that have kept the environment as pristine as possible. That is not the norm in the Caribbean region.
Yeah, and I think we don't appreciate that enough, because we've been hearing it over and over this weekend.
Yeah, you have, now I could speak for Trinidad and Tobago, you have roads being built through ecologically sensitive areas, you have infrastructure being built along the coastline that cuts off free-flowing water to mangroves, you have development that is ongoing in ecologically sensitive coastlines in the other parts of the Caribbean. So yes, seeing how much Belize has protected the environment, certainly inspiring.
Yeah, and so just continue to talk on the whole matter of courage and these personal or private interests where climate change and climate stories are concerned. How do you navigate that?
It's a very fine needle to thread.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I rely on making sure my reporting is as accurate as possible. It sticks to the facts rather than opinions. Once I know my reporting is right and I can put my head on a block for it, I'm fully okay with whatever I put out there. And I think part of that is having confidence and being courageous in the fact that you know that you put your best foot forward in getting the right story across.
Colleen, we certainly want to thank you for joining us this morning and having this conversation. You've now introduced yourself to Belize, to the Belizean audience, and so you're technically family now. You're an honorary Belizean
I love that.
as a result of appearing on this morning show. So we want to thank you. Any parting words or final thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, first, I want to say thank you to everybody in Belize. You guys have been so hospitable. I got lost in Placencia, a couple of days ago. I lost the entire group. Everybody knew me in the town center as the lost Trini, and everybody was so helpful. And I love the hospitality here. And it's just been an absolute pleasure to be a part of your country for a couple of days. And a big thank you to the 5 Cs as well for bringing all of these journalists in. And thank you so much for having me on the show as well.
And before you walk away, do you have any advice for upcoming journalists who want to make an impact as you have?
Yeah, so I think put yourself out there, look for the stories that are being told and see how you can emulate that in your country or your region. And also, when awards like CBU come up, I suggest you apply for it. Sometimes there are categories where they don't even receive entries, and you may win not only by default, but you may get so much recognition for the hard work that you put in. And I strongly suggest you not only apply for these awards, but other awards and fellowships that exist out there. There are tons of resources out there as well for training opportunities to better your craft.
Killian, once again, thank you so much for joining us, and you're flying back today.
Yeah.
So safe travels.
Thank you.
It's been fun, and hopefully we see you in Belize sometime soon, perhaps on vacation.
Absolutely. I have to come back to do diving instead of snorkeling
Yeah,
this time
definitely.
around.
And you're always welcome to hit us up at Channel 5. Just find out where we are. If you don't get in contact with us, just ask anybody on the street. What Channel 5 there? People will tell you where it
They'll
is.
tell you.
Yeah, but thank you so much, my brother. Safe travels back, and all the best moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we have none other than the one and only Marlene Cuellar, the Chief Executive Officer actually it's Mark. Yeah, so we have Mr. Mark, and he's coming on in our next segment. My apologies. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Look here, your kitchen light there, and you've been in the kitchen.
But I'm going back in there right now.
And the coffee maker?
Just to try keep me the coffee warm for later.
Where do you know?
I'll try to think more if you eat.
You know the more you open and close the fridge, it takes longer for the food cool.
Uh-huh.
For a hot day like today, it burns more energy. You charge your phone right now?
No.
Plug it out then. You really only wash 2 Lee socks and 1 Lee shirt? You don't know what small load burn the same amount of electricity as large loads?
But this is my favorite shirt.
You have to be more energy efficient. Use large loads. This AC they blow hard. You know, if you keep the temperature at 25 degrees Celsius or higher, you burn less energy and you also keep the place cool. And for a nice day like today, turn off the AC, open up the house and make some fresh breeze come in.
You know what? I think I get it now. As consumers, we need to be more energy efficient and practice energy conservation.
It's the return of your favorite Tuesday night entertainment. KTV The Remix Season 6 is here. Join us for an exciting night and a chance to win fabulous prizes. Plus compete in our halftime challenge. Get your tickets for just $5. Available at Channel 5 and Coney Drive and 88 Shopping Center. Can't make it in person? No problem. Watch it live on Channel 5 or stream it on Facebook and YouTube. The fun starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 6. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Let's take a journey through the core functions of the Social Security Board. It all starts with registering as an insured person, employer, or self-employed individual. Sign up for a portal account to manage your Social Security information online. Just provide accurate information and click Create. This will give you access to a range of services and benefits. Next, your contribution, along with investments and other income, are collected and distributed into 3 funds. This ensures that the SSB fund is securely utilized to support various benefit programs. The SSB is committed to providing essential benefits such as sickness, maternity, injury, and pension. These benefits are paid out to eligible individuals as a part of the Social Security coverage. We help you navigate through life's challenges with financial security. Annual surplus accumulates to grow the fund each year. This surplus is invested into various industries, contributing to the growth and development of our nation. With each passing year, the fund continues to grow due to the annual surplus and interest revenue earned from prudent investments. This surplus, along with reserves, helps to bolster the SSB fund and provide a safety net for those in need. We've arrived at the end of our journey to better understanding how the SSB works. We remain committed to serving you and building a secure future for all Belizeans.
Welcome to Design Depot, home of Sherwin-Williams Paint. Sherwin-Williams Paint is one of the most reputable paints in the industry, known for its superior quality, durability, and environmentally friendly technology. We carry a large variety of products for all your home and commercial needs, such as interior and exterior paints, primers, wood stains, sealers, clear top coats, caulking, aerosols, concrete, and masonry products. Achieve professional-looking results with ease using Sherwin-Williams paint and coating. Design Depot, all in one place.
Welcome back. This is our second segment for this morning. And joining us for this conversation, we have none other than Mr. Mark Coral, and he's a representative at ATSC. Very interesting stuff these guys do over there at ATSC, and Mr. Mark is in to tell us all about it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to have you.
And it's a pleasure to be here. I'm enjoying Belize to no end. It's wonderful.
Is this your first visit to Belize?
First visit to Belize, not the first visit to the Caribbean, but the first visit to Belize.
And you said you traveled all the way down south as well, to Toledo.
Yeah, we went, there was a tour actually given by the Tourism Bureau, and we went down to a Mayan chocolate factory. We saw ruins. We took a long tour on Sunday, and it was really rich, and we spent a lot of time there. So it was quite nice, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was eye-opening in terms of what Belize has to offer. You know, we're kind of joking that you hear all these things, the blue hole, all these things, but I never put them all together, that they all are in Belize, right? So there's all these things, the jaguars, the jungles, there's so many aspects to Belize that I never thought about before, or knew about them, but had never connected it as one big country with all this to offer. So I think it's really fascinating.
So now that you've experienced or witnessed it, you're a Belize disciple, so go out and spread the word.
I'm a Caribbean disciple, let's just say that. So I spend time in Barbados, I've gone to Jamaica, I spent a lot of time in Cancun, so I've been to many of the islands, and so each of them has a different flavor, each of them has something different to offer. And I think certainly in the US, we come to our little enclaves for vacation, which really aren't the Caribbean. They are just displaced, nice places to go that happen to be warm in the wintertime. But the Caribbean is much more than that and much different. And it's really the people. I find the people just wonderful, very friendly, and enjoy, why am I not living here? That's my question.
No, well, I appreciate you saying all of that because it kind of sets the stage for your connection with the Caribbean and your connection with the people here and the fact that you have a passion for these countries.
Right.
Now, so part of what brings you to the Caribbean is your work.
Right.
Let's talk a bit about ATSC and what it is you guys do over there.
So ATSC is a standards organization. So it's a little strange in the U.S. in that there are multiple standards organizations, and ATSC is focused mostly. We've started to branch out a little bit, but mostly focused and historically has been focused on the emission over the air broadcasting. So defining the standard that is actually emitted from a transmitter antenna. The waveform that comes off of that has been under the purview of ATSC. That's what we define. So we defined 20 years ago, maybe more, the ATSC, what we refer to now as the 1.0 standard, or the HDTV standard that is now prevalent in the US. It has been taken up in the US and in some other countries, Korea, for example. And that standard was developed by the ATSC and has been supported by the ATSC. But it's 20-year-old technology. And the new technology that we've spent the last 10 years developing or more has all of the tools that the internet provides. And so what we've been doing is spending a lot of time developing that. There's now the ATSC 3.0 standard, which is comprised of roughly 20 documents in various aspects of the broadcast stack, as we think about it, as the reception stack. So each of those areas has a specialist group. Each of those areas has a collection of people. ATSC itself is a small organization, nonprofit organization, but there's roughly 170 members now, member companies, including some fairly large companies like Sony and Dolby and a lot of what you would think of as television manufacturers, broadcasters, equipment manufacturers such as my company. And so we all come together and agree on there's proposals, we agree on those proposals, we work through those proposals, and it's essentially a political process at the end of the day. Everybody trying to get a little bit of what they want, but then at the end of the day we reach consensus and vote and publish the standards. So that's the process.
What does it mean to be operating under ATSC's standard? Like how does it impact the workplace and their operations, as well as perhaps viewership?
Well, I think the important thing to understand is the viewership, because when we build the standard, when we build these standards, really it's intended to help users or help the consumer get the best experience they can from a broadcast, right? So that's really our goal, and that's why it's important that we're here in the Caribbean, because here's a collection of users, they have different goals, there's different content, there's different purpose. And it's important for me, particularly, to understand the use cases in that space so that we can basically build a better standard to support the journalism and all the other activities that are going on in a better way, to let stories be told in a better way and let consumers receive those stories in a way that's more interactive with them, which is more interesting to them. So a lot of broadcast television has been sort of left behind in some respects by the internet capabilities, right? So you can go to YouTube and you can go to all these other places and there's better capabilities, there are 4K, there's this. The ATSC 3.0 standard brings all of that.
Okay.
We've added all of that. We've taken all that technology and moved it into the standard. It's the first IP-based standard for broadcast in the world. And that allows it to be a hybrid standard and interact closely with a broadband standard at the same time. So we've got broadcasters in the US who are sending out only the signaling aspects over the air and then referring to video aspects coming off the internet and broadband. So things like that are quite possible, and the reverse is possible as well. So it's interesting what this has enabled, and we're just sort of now starting to experience, as we deploy this in the US and in other countries. Jamaica's already deployed it. They're covering about 75% of the population now, if I'm not mistaken.
What does that do for them and their population? How does it look for them?
It gives them more capability. In the analog case, you have a single frequency and a single video stream going over that frequency. With this technology, you can actually run multiples. So Jamaica, Claire is actually running, I think 4 to 5 streams channels over that broadcast, as well as her radio channels. Wow. And they're all coming over that single broadcast. Now, yes, you have to have a receiver that can decode that information and put up the antenna and decode the information just as you do with analog. But the capability of the signal to carry more content, to carry more capability, there's interactivity, there's a variety of emergency alerting, for example, things that we've just added to the standard.
It opens a world of possibilities, even
Absolutely.
for income generation.
Absolutely, right.
Yeah.
So we've included things like you could do pay-per-view with it, for example. You can do a variety of different things. And where I'm excited, and the things that I find exciting about the standard is really the data capabilities, not just sending what we refer to as live linear broadcast, right? So we're doing things with pagers to first responders, for example. Somebody has built a paging device that can receive the ATSC3 signal, and we can send messages individually to these different pagers with the broadcast. And the reception is actually better than a cell reception. Wow. In some cases. Yeah. So there's a variety of things. We can tune the broadcast so that there's pieces of the broadcast that can have very good reception and others that have very high bandwidth. Those are the trade-offs. And so we can do that in the same broadcast. So you can target mobile devices and you can target on-the-wall devices, if you will.
So you have Jamaica already on board. It's already applied it to 75% of their population.
So their coverage there, right.
Where else in the Caribbean are we looking at or seeing interest or have already pledged or joined the standard?
Marlene is very interested.
Yeah.
She's looking
Belize.
at Belize, so.
Yeah.
Trinidad and Tobago are doing a demo right now. They are undertaking to put it up. We've had contacts from Bahamas, and there's interest in it. Puerto Rico is actually going to do a deployment very soon, hopefully this year. So it's starting to gain traction because a lot of I think it's interesting that all of the countries, many of the countries are analog still.
Yeah.
Still have analog broadcast,
Correct.
right? And I've seen this in a variety of places where infrastructure is difficult for whatever reasons, whether it's climate change or whatever reasons there's or just not enough money fundamentally. But there's always this, as technology gets to a certain point, there's an opportunity to leapfrog. So in the US we have sometimes problems because we have entrenched technology that's very difficult to break the value chains and leapfrog over those value chains. Whereas in other countries, it's much easier because that infrastructure is not there. And all of a sudden you can offer services that the infrastructure would normally bear, but you can leapfrog it and you can use new technologies. Indeed. Right? So that's really exciting. In India, for example, they're looking at a mobile-first deployment. Brazil has just decided that they're, let's be clear, the forum, the SBTBD forum, which is their standards body, has ratified that they would like to use the ATSC3 physical layer. That still has to go through government approval. But so there's a lot of technologies that ATSC3 is bringing to bear. In fact, I'm going to Sao Paulo on Saturday to do a show there. A conference there talking about all the things that ATSC3 can do.
Now, you all collaborate with the CBU.
Yes, we are partners with the CBU.
You are partners with the CBU. What does that partnership look like, and what are those discussions that you all have when you attend events like this?
It's mostly about people. It's mostly about making connections and understanding what the problems they're trying to solve are. ATSC3, the technology that we've developed is essentially a tool set. We have a variety of things that people can bring to bear. As I mentioned, in India, they're looking at mobile first. They're looking at a mobile play where there's over 1 billion cell phones in India, right? So, and there's very few, when I say very few in India, there's hundreds of millions of these things, but it's still very few in comparison to 1 billion, right?
Right.
So they're looking at a different tool set. In fact, I have
over-the-air broadcasting with the internet. 2 decades ago.
ATSC3, it plugs into my phone.
All right.
And would give me television reception on my phone.
Serious?
Yeah.
And this is one of your technologies?
It's not the technology. This was developed by an Indian company, Sankhya Labs. But this is a technology that works with a cell phone. And we can basically have an antenna on your cell phone and watch television. I've done this The interesting thing about the ATSC 3 standard is it's got a mobile capability as well. So if you choose to broadcast information in mobile, you can actually have it such that I was in Detroit where there's actually an ATSC 3 broadcast, and I was on a bus and watching television on the bus with this device.
Wow.
So
I've never seen anything like that, right?
So yeah, so this technology, they're actually working on a cell phone that would have it integrated into the cell phone. So you wouldn't need
ATSC system. Or
yes, a receiver, a tuner device.
Correct.
Right, a tuner built into a cell phone. So they're actually working on something like that. We have prototypes of it now. But that's the kind of technology, see, like, you would never think about doing such a thing with an analog television, right? You would never think about just picking up.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure somebody could invent something like that. But this is where, these are the types of devices, dongles, set-top boxes, things like that, that can actually, and the prices are coming down dramatically soon. So there's a lot of concern in the Caribbean about prices, of course, and replacing equipment. But set-top boxes, the prices are moving down. I'm actually on a committee in the ATSC called the Implementation Team for the Caribbean. I'm the chair of that committee. And we are looking at ways to implement capability for islands in the Caribbean to allow them to do things that they might not normally think about.
And this is impressive because it can really help those living in underdeveloped areas or regions who do not have access to this.
Right, and so one of the really interesting things that we've been doing is distance education, emergency alerting, things of that nature. So if you're reliant on a phone, you're reliant on carriers, you're reliant on cell towers staying up during events that we just saw just recently, right? And most of the time with broadcast, they're high tower, high power broadcasts, right? So you have a large tower that's usually fairly resilient, fairly robust, with diesel backup, and it's broadcasting constantly. And if a cell tower blows down, you still can receive this information. You still can have communications with the emergency systems in the government. And I think it's important, like one of the things that I really talk about is sovereignty. This is the means, broadcast television, broadcast radio, really still the means of the government to communicate with its people. And I think that's extremely important, as not to turn over the reins, and this is going to be a little political, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Turning over the reins to large corporations and people that can essentially change your message.
Indeed.
Because they hold that, whereas broadcast and broadcasters are really important to carry that message and be able to have the government communicate with its people during times of emergency or just in general announcement. And I think that's really important. And the capabilities that we built into ATSC 3 allow you to do that. And we're deploying this in a variety of places, including Canada, where, back to the data casting, which is what we call it, there's City of Calgary. I'm doing a showcase there in October, or helping with a showcase that they're doing. They're looking at this broadcast technology not for video. They're looking at it purely as an underpinning for their smart city, and being able to do first responders, being emergency alerting, a variety of different signage, where they can change road signs, that electronic road signs, they can broadcast information to those and target those. There's just a world of applications, I think, that we can leverage with this technology.
Now, to take advantage of something like this, what you showed us, that device, of course you would have to be operating under the ATSC standard, correct?
Right. The ATSC 3 standard, yes. Which we call Next Gen TV. It's branded Next Gen TV in the US.
Okay.
And so yes, it would have to be under that standard. You would have to switch to that standard. But I think the benefits of switching to such a standard are endless. It's just I've been working on it for 10 years, so of course I'm very biased.
Yeah, right.
But I really do think it does offer some opportunities, and as I've been here at the CBU and listened to the conversations, I will take that back to our committees and to understand how we can better serve the Caribbean with the technology. And I think that's important for us.
How would that transition process work in terms of a media house or a broadcasting entity wanting to transition and perhaps sees it as a daunting task because
It is
of
a capital expense. There's no question.
Correct.
You have to put up a new transmitter.
Exactly.
And that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
You just put up a new transmitter. Now, what's interesting about the ATSC3 technology is it uses a lot of internet technology. It uses what's referred to as DASH, right? So adaptive streaming that you actually see when you go to YouTube and things of that nature. So it uses that technology. And so if you're producing content for the internet now, you've got most of the capabilities in play already. The encoders, everything like that is actually based on internet technology. So the broadcast chain just picks up right at that interface. It's kind of all almost just think about it as reading off of YouTube if you want to. And pulling that in and formatting it appropriately for the broadcast and then exciting and emitting it over the transmitter. But essentially we have HTML, we have JavaScript, we have interactivity that you can actually define and actually have that running on the television.
So let's talk a bit about, as we wrap up this conversation, ATSC's vision for the Caribbean region.
I think our vision is what your vision is. I think it's whatever we will help you. My message has always been, let us know how we can help.
Yeah.
We don't have a vision for you, you have the vision. We want to help you realize that vision of what you want to do and how you want to communicate with your people. That's really where we are at. We are really interested in just helping provide the tool set that allows you to do the things that you want to do. Journalism, data casting, any of the technologies that I just talked about. If you want to do those things, or if you think about something new that you want to try to do, let me know personally, and I will help you try to figure that out.
Well, Mr. Corral, I want to thank you so much for joining us on set this morning. Very insightful conversation. I've learned a lot about what the future of broadcasting in the Caribbean can look like and actually where we're heading. And so kudos to you and your team for doing such a great job.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me. I really find this experience fulfilling and enriching, and so I'm glad I came, and really thank you for having me.
Of course, no problem. All right, so with that, we'll take another break, and when we come back, for sure, we're going to have CEO Marlene Cuellar on set. We had Mr. Mark. I want to thank him again. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word.
The Bible says, "And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." Mark Twain, the American humorist, once told of a conversation he had with a friend and colleague of his in Boston, Massachusetts. His friend related that he was about to do something he had wanted to do all of his life. Mark Twain asked what that was. He said, "All my life I have wanted to go to the Holy Land and climb Mount Sinai, where God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, and read those commandments out loud." Mark Twain said, "I think it would be much better if you remained in Boston and just lived them." A rich young ruler once asked the Lord what the greatest commandment was. And Jesus said that the first is to love God with all one's heart, and the second was to love one's neighbor as oneself. Instead of just placing the commandments on the wall of your home or school, why not seek to live by them on the streets of your community?
Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
My name is Waluko Mejia. I'm the General Manager at Copal Tree Lodge here in Toledo, Belize. The Belize Bank service we appreciate most is the Belize Bank ATM and the use of its debit card. It makes it very accessible for our employees here at Copal Tree Lodge. Essentially, they could access the ATM on their way home after work, and also that the local stores accept the use of a debit card.
It's the return of your favorite Tuesday night entertainment. KTV The Remix Season 6 is here. Join us for an exciting night and a chance to win fabulous prizes. Plus compete in our halftime challenge. Get your tickets for just $5. Available at Channel 5 and Coney Drive and 88 Shopping Center. Can't make it in person? No problem. Watch it live on Channel 5 or stream it on Facebook and YouTube. The fun starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 6. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize.
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. As we promised, we have joining us on set from Placencia. I just have to remind you all that we're still in Placencia on the heels of the 55th Annual General Assembly for the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, and of course the award shows that took place last night. And we are joined by Marlene Cuellar, the CEO of Great Belize Productions, and she was also the chair, as I understand it, of the planning committee.
Of the local organizing committee, yes.
Local organizing committee for this event. Marlene, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all as well. I know it's been a long night for everybody.
Oh, it has. It's been a long few days, actually, because it's been early mornings, late nights into early mornings, right back into late nights, back into early mornings. So the next 2 days, we're going to take... Anyway, it's another conversation.
Yeah.
But let's talk a bit about the vision we had, the organizing committee had, when we learned and even got into the planning that we would be hosting the events this year.
Well, you know, interestingly, from 2021, we were asked to consider hosting. And at that time, I was attending my first CBU meeting. I said, let me see what this entails first before I make a decision. And after attending the CBU Annual General Assembly in Tobago and then subsequently in Antigua, I decided that we would be able to host the event. So we started planning almost a year ago. And the local organizing committee is really the members of CBU who are within a country. In Belize, there are only two, the Belize Broadcasting Authority and Great Belize Productions. So that means two very small entities took on this ginormous task to be able to plan the event. But with time and advanced planning, I think we were able to get all our ducks in a row to get the event on the ground.
Let's talk a bit about the first day experience for the Caribbean representatives that were in Belize. That entire expedition.
Yeah.
They keep raving about the experience they had on Sunday.
You know, you spend a lot of time planning these events, and I want to say off the top though that this while there is a local organizing committee, clearly we depend a lot on partners and sponsorships to be able to execute the event. And one of our partners that we approached that was on board immediately was the Belize Tourism Board. And you know, in conversations and in meetings, we talked about the fact that you have top media managers, people who are known within their particular country and who are very exposed to different parts of the world, that they'd be coming to Belize, and we wanted to ensure that they would have the best possible experience. So the Belize Tourism Board curated that entire tour for them.
Did they?
Yeah.
No.
We said we wanted to focus on cultural. They're from the Caribbean. They've
Yeah.
seen beaches. They haven't seen corals as beautiful as ours,
Yeah.
I think.
Biased.
But we knew that one of the things that makes us stand out in the Caribbean is the diversity of our culture. So we ensured that was the fundamental experience that they would walk away with. So they did Ishkakau. They went to Ishkakau for chocolate making. They went to the Spice and Botanical Farm, and then they also went to Nimli Punit.
Yeah.
It was a very long day. I'm surprised they all did it, but I think one of my highlights of this experience has been seeing my friends and colleagues fall in love with Belize.
Yeah.
And I mean fall in love like they're asking, you know, what's the cost of property?
Exactly.
You know, where are the retirement communities? We love our country. We're proud of our country. We take it for granted a lot of times. And when people come and you just see them become so enamored with what they get to experience here, it's been a fantastic experience.
Yeah, for me, that's one of the things that stands out, how these events create a platform not only to engage media representatives from across the region, but how it creates a platform to promote your country as well in terms of tourism and these areas. And I think that's so important. And it's almost like, I would imagine, as an afterthought when you're planning these events. It's not necessarily that we're here to promote Belize, but we're here to accommodate our guests, and as a result of that, just being in Belize, you fall in love. You can't help it. You can't help it. It's something in the water that you drink. As soon as you take a cup, it's like, all right, I need land here. Right? That's how
I
it
need
works.
to come back here.
Yeah,
I need to experience this when I'm not working.
Exactly.
And at the opening ceremony, President Claire, the president of CBU, said something important, that very often in the Caribbean we look outside to market or product. We don't look around the region. And that I thought it was so important that she said that, because we had the real life experience of Caribbean people traveling to Belize. We had about 60 delegates traveling into country, predominantly from the Caribbean, a couple from other parts of the world. And they fell in love, you know. They're gonna go back and they're gonna be ambassadors talking about this experience in Belize, and that they should come as well and bring their friends. So I thought that was really interesting when she brought that up, because it is true. We figure, you know, will Caribbean people want to come to Belize? Well, clearly they do.
Yeah, and so we went through Sunday. On Monday we had the opening ceremony as well, and that was a beautiful experience. Again, culture, diversity sprinkled here and there within that. And then last night, of course, we had the award ceremony, which was one of the events that the journalists and media workers from across the region were definitely looking forward to. I have to say congratulations, though I work with the Channel 5 team for such a well thought out and executed show last night.
Thank you. Well, and Paul and Elise, you know more than anyone that it takes a team, a very small team that works tirelessly to ensure that our productions can run as smooth and efficiently as possible. You know, they spend a lot of time, early mornings, late nights, continuous rehearsals to be able to ensure that once we go on air, it won't ever be perfect, but as long as you are not transmitting any errors and that things will flow smoothly. And we saw that last night. I'm incredibly proud of the team for the television productions, but also remember, those are only two of the events that we're having. We have meetings and conferences and special gatherings that are taking place, and that has also been executed well. So I'm happy with the results that we've had so far. We still have a day more to go, but we're almost there.
Yeah, I know for sure that Belizeans were tuned in last night. I mean, people that I didn't even expect would sit down and watch show CBU Awards. Perhaps I've never sat down to watch show CBU Awards for their entire life. Sat down and watched through the awards last night, and they actually celebrated every Belizean award, every award that we won. They celebrated, and somebody told me that they got up and they burst their bracelet in joy and celebration, that their whole family was celebrating when Belizeans won awards. And Marlene, as much as you were a part of the organizing committee, you're also the CEO at Channel 5, Great Belize Production. And so on one hand, you're behind the scenes ensuring that things flow smoothly, but on the other hand, you're seeing us receiving those awards, and I'm sure there's a bit of celebration going on inside of it.
Of course. And just a little behind the scenes secret, producing the award show was exceptionally difficult for us because, you know, let's step back a bit. Channel 5, from its, I don't want to give an exact date, but from it was under Stuart Crone as the managing director, has been a member of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union. In fact, Stuart Crone was a president for the CBU. He's a Hall of Fame recipient for the CBU. So Channel 5, Great Belize Productions, has consistently been a part of this organization. And so we've been participating in the media awards for a while. And I mean, some of the names that you know from long ago have been winning awards. And so it's a baton that's passed on to whoever takes over leadership that you hope not to drop. And what happens really is that we often come back from these Caribbean countries and we give some news coverage as to what takes place. There's a sense of pride. And a part of the incentive in hosting is also getting to show our Belizean audience just how big a deal this is. You're talking about over 400 entries from across the region. And there are some small islands that have media houses similar to our size, and there are some huge, well-funded organizations that have double, triple the size of our media companies. And so, you know, when Belize is able to capture these awards and shine on the stage, it makes all of us so proud. And so last night we saw that, you know, we won 8 awards and two special mentions. Of course, Jamaica, RGR Gleaner, specifically won 16 awards and 4 special mentions.
A lot in print.
Well, and they have print, radio, and television. So I think that, you know, when you put it into perspective, you understand just what this recognition means. And, you know, congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
I am incredibly proud, and I think, you know, when you hear and when I see my team being recognized for the work that I know they're fully capable of doing and should be recognized for, it is a wonderful experience.
Actually what the awards did for me, it allowed me to go back last night and reflect on why perhaps these stories won awards, and just a reflection. From that reflection, I learned a lot. I almost started to create a formula on how to win these awards. But one of the things I wanted to highlight, Marlene, is design of these awards. I want to talk, because it stumped me at first when I saw it. It's like, oh well, this is cool. This is it has this Maya essence to it as well. And then the wood, I said, this is so Belizean.
Yes.
We love
unique.
we love wood blockers,
Yeah.
and it's very unique. But I understand there's a lot of meaning behind the design. Who thought of this?
Well, you know, I think if we're gonna go Belize, let's go Belize all the way.
Right.
And, you know, we can obviously get awards printed in any format, but I wanted it to be uniquely Belizean. So we collaborated with artist Gilvano Swayze, and I told him, I said, listen, I want it to be wood. It has to be light enough to carry, because people will travel with it. And we started talking about what the engravement would be, and we knew we wanted it to be Mayan. And so we decided on the balam, the jaguar, for the meaning. And so to the back, it also has the definition as to what balam represents. And I heard you speaking with it about, with Kalain, and part of it is courage. And that is what working in the media calls for many times, whether it's news, especially in news, I should say, because people highly underestimate what it takes to be able to produce some of the work that you produce. But even if it's an entertainment stage, the courage it takes to get in front of a crowd and present yourself and face critics and just you know, the vulnerability of putting yourself out there like that. So I thought it was very fitting, and I wanted it to look like Belize. So when they put it on their shelf, it'll be the one that stands out.
It's unlike anything else, right? I think this is the first wooden award within the CBU Awards 33 so far.
I don't want to say yes and I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But most are not wood. Most are usually glass or plastic.
Yeah. Full. So there's some may have a wood base, but I mean, I'm just thinking about the award shelf that we have in our at our base, and I don't see any wood like that.
And you have quite the number to add to that shelf now.
Yeah. Ooh, don't talk about it, Elise.
But you know, I mean, the bigger picture of this is of it is that you work on a daily basis producing news stories. The news team does so. Media in Belize does so. And it may seem routine, but these stories are created for impact. Let's take an example of the story that won Best News Story last night, your story.
Yeah, the competency
yes,
based.
it was a 5-point breakdown.
It was a 5-point breakdown.
Which is a feature we recently added to the newscast with a very deliberate purpose.
Yeah.
And the purpose of these bi-weekly features is that we wanted to do explainer journalism to help people understand complex issues. And the competency-based curriculum is one that we hear people talking about, but that they need to understand.
Yeah.
And so when you were challenged to have to break it down into a news feature, the viewers benefit from getting a better understanding. And then you submit it for the awards and it wins Best News Story.
Imagine.
So it's the work is for the viewers. The purpose remains the same, but it does feel good to have the effort recognized that's put into creating.
I always say that I learned at Channel 5 that we don't do stories to win awards. We do stories to impact our viewers, to benefit our viewers. And it just so happens that they're award-winning stories, and we're grateful for that. But Mara, as we wrap up this conversation, I'd like to give you an opportunity to really thank everyone, all those that have made this entire thing possible, from sponsors all the way down to this intricate web of venues and locations that have been able to facilitate us on the peninsula as well.
No, as I said earlier, we couldn't have done it on our own at all. So reaching out to sponsors, corporate sponsors, to be able to assist us, and government ministries, it was important because it's costly to be able to produce these types of events. So I do want to thank Belize Tourism Board, Belize Airport Authority, Belize Sugar Industries, ASR, Public Utilities Commission. I don't want to miss anyone. Belize Broadcasting Authority, or partner in the organizing committee. We also, there's a whole list of people, and we're going to ensure that we give them all their thanks because it was important, and they got to be a part of the events. They got to meet with the representatives who are here. The CBU is also, or partner organizer. So the Secretariat, Secretary General Sonia Gill is, the driving force behind keeping the organization going, or President Claire. Those who have planned recent CBU AGAs were also helpful. Erna Mae Brathwaite from ABS, Antigua and Barbuda Television Services, and Richard Purcell from CCN TV6, also very helpful. And I plan to continue the tradition, help out Barbados with planning theirs as well.
Yeah.
And then the sponsors who support CBU, who allow for these sponsored categories like 5Cs. I mean, 5Cs has really created an experience at our awards that is so incredibly important.
Yeah.
When the journalist, usually it is the representative that will go up, so I would go and get all the awards that Channel 5 wins. And yes, it's meaningful to me, but I'm not the one who wins them. So when the journalists themselves are able to go up, and you saw the excitement and the glee and the surprise, there's nothing better than that, 'cause they did the work.
Yeah. So their impact is twofold.
Yeah.
Their impact is multiple folds as well. So yeah, that's certainly true, and we want to thank 5Cs as well, just as a journalist, for the experience that they've been affording
And
us.
I have to say, thank you to my team.
Yeah.
I've had our Director of Operations, Edith Gahona, by my side the entire time with planning, extremely helpful Sales and Marketing Manager, Yolani Kakom. I mean, I pretty much have to list the entire staff who's been helping out, because everybody has been taking care of one particular detail. And, seeing, Rick win an award, Best Director again, seeing Sosa win Best Sound Engineer was a sweet moment.
Yeah.
Open Your Eyes
has
won an award for Best Magazine Program. It's just a wonderful experience. And I want to thank my entire team, and I do hope that the opening ceremony and some of the speeches that people were able to pick up on the messages, because yes, we say the media, but it's more than just what you see on television. And I think clearly classifying those who are working to be in a professional industry versus people who do other things that don't necessarily fall within professional standards. I think you have to have that distinction, and I hope that message was captured by our viewers.
Well, congratulations once again, Marlene, on a well put together show or events. I know it's not finished for you all.
Yeah.
You have today to go through and tonight to have sort of a closing ceremony before the rest of the delegates, they depart to their countries. The journalists are actually leaving today to head back home, and I understand that they're getting right back to work as soon as
we all are, huh?
Right, we're all getting back to work. No days off, really.
Stop asking. No, all back to work.
Thank you once again, though.
But thank you too as well for doing the morning show early in the morning, and then still going to your sessions. Elise, being on that stage last night, I know that was a unique experience as well.
Indeed it was. And thank you for having me and including me in this important event. I know it is important for individuals to understand the work that you do. So thank you so much for what you do.
All right, so with that, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we actually have a little special video production lined up for you all. We're going to go through some of the awards from last night. Going to play those clips, those announcements. And if you didn't live through the live experience last night, well, you could kind of live through it this morning in this video production. Before that, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
This plan, I can't left this plan. Smart Belize.
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
No, I can't let this plan. I can't let this plan.
Having issues with low water pressure in your home? Well, the Goulds ResiBoost Compact Booster Pump System provides the solution you need. This system isn't just any constant water pressure system. It's a product of Goulds Water Technology's next generation engineering and design. This easy-to-install plug-and-play system is more reliable, more durable, and more efficient at ensuring strong, consistent water pressure throughout your entire household. Take your water pressure to the next level with Goulds ResiBoost. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
The Public Utilities Commission continues to drive changes for Belize's utility and ICT sectors by creating new regulations and updating existing laws and rules to elevate the legal framework for water, telecommunication, and electricity. Overall, our work at PUC allows for better protection of consumers and the environment, a comprehensive integration of renewable energy sources into the national power grid, assures businesses continuity of utilities, promote competition and investments, and enhances national development in Belize. PUC, transforming the utility and ICT sectors by modernizing the regulatory framework.
Hydroelectricity. It's clean, sustainable, and one of the largest renewable energy sources in the world. It's what we use here at Fortis Belize to generate electricity to power your homes and businesses. We operate 3 hydroelectric dams on the Macal River. Together, the Moyejon, Chalio, and Vaca facilities supply as much as 40% of the country's energy needs. Fortis Belize maintains its operations following international standards, and local technical teams are guided by a strict water management program to maintain water levels year-round. Generating safe, reliable, and sustainable renewable energy in an environmentally responsible manner is what we do here at Fortis Belize. We are constantly working to build a brighter and more resilient Belize. For more information, visit our website at www.fortisbelize.com or email us at corporate@fortisbelize.com. Fortis Belize, building a future with 100% renewable energy.
I'm David Humes, this is Vanessa Humes. We own Ladyville Cool Spot. Belize Bank save us a lot of time. Working with them, we can keep track exactly what we spend. We recommend Belize Bank 100% because we don't have to go to stand up in line, and we can check on our account right from our house. Working with Belize Bank is the best.
Your favorite Tuesday night entertainment. KTV The Remix Season 6 is here. Join us for an exciting night and a chance to win fabulous prizes. Plus compete in our halftime challenge. Get your tickets for just $5. Available at Channel 5 and Coney Drive and 88 Shopping Center. Can't make it in person? No problem. Watch it live on Channel 5 or stream it on Facebook and YouTube. The fun starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 6. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
All right, welcome back. This is our fourth and final segment, Elise, and I think we have something pretty special lined up right now. You can tell us a bit about it.
We know that last night's event was incredibly special and something that is worth taking a review of. And right now we will take a look of some of the videos from last night as well as some of the winning clips. So let's take a look of those videos now.
Yeah, exactly. Natalia Montes is among a group of primary school students engaged in a 4-week summer program in coding.
This is Sprite. Not the Sprite that you drink. It's like a character in a game or animation that moves and behaves in like a game like Pac-Man, Mario. Like you see that when you're offline, that dinosaur.
Montes and her peers are applying numerous skills during the time spent in their coding class. Those skills include effective communication, critical and innovative thinking, collaboration and digital literacy. Character development and emotional intelligence are also employed during their daily closing sessions, when the class gathers to discuss the lessons learned for that day and the challenges faced.
How many of you found talent yesterday? All right, did you give up when you found the challenge? No. Because we said what? We only fail if we do not try. Great. Okay, high five. High five, and let me check your lessons.
As commonplace as this approach to learning may be, it differs greatly from the traditional educational approach. Judy Bautista, the coding instructor, uses what is known as a competency-based approach. The focus here is not only on knowledge or what the child knows, but he or she must also be able to demonstrate that they can apply what they know and that they have acquired positive values in the process. Dr. Louis Zabane, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, explained why Belize's education sector is transitioning towards competency-based education.
So the short answer is poor student performance. Poor student performance both within the education system in terms of when they do summative exams or when they do even the little bit of formative exams that were being done. But also, very importantly, the responses we get from the private sector and other non-governmental sectors, that our students have many gaps when they come for an interview. There's a letter that is sent, maybe requested, and even in the letter you see many errors in how they cannot handle the English language well, they can't communicate well.
The Belize National Curriculum Framework is guiding the transformation of Belize's education sector. The 40-page document lists 7 key learning areas, including language, mathematics, expressive arts, physical education, and wellness.
Located off the coast of Placencia near Reiki, a seaweed farm, and hard at work, seaweed farmers. About 14 of them split into 2 groups. One dives into the sea to clean the farm, while the other begins to prepare the seaweed to be planted. They tie branches of seaweed to a 50-foot long rope. It looks easy, but there's a technique to it. It's a lot of hard work and it's time consuming, and it has to be done right.
It is a lot of work. I mean, if you love the ocean and you love what you do, like, you don't look at it as a lot of work, but it is for people who probably don't have the experience.
And with the training funded by the Nature Conservancy and in collaboration with the Belize Women Seaweed Farmers Association, the participants of this seaweed farming training now have much more experience.
They were taught how to set up a farm, and not just how to set up a farm, but site selection, which is very important. And in doing that, you have to know exactly the location where you're gonna set your farm up, as in away from corals, not over too much grass beds, not too close to mangroves, and also not close to like where grazers, fish grazers are. And so it's very important to teach them the right way and the right style to create your own farm.
That's one of the goals, to have the participants create and maintain their own seaweed farms. But you might be thinking, why seaweed? Well, why not seaweed? It offers an alternative livelihood for fisher folks. Seaweed offers numerous benefits. It's rich in nutrients and can be a beneficial value-added product. Ask Rena Usher Ordonez. She is the owner of Southern Green Products, which she founded in 2020. Her products rely heavily on seaweed as a value-added component.
I make it in the powder form, and I also use it as a gel, and I do the infused sea moss as well. So I use it in 3 different ways, making hair, skin, and face products. So I have like serums and the face mask that helps to clear up your skin. I have the hair oil, infused hair oil. I have the hair treatments that help to strengthen your hair and grow your hair.
And that's just seaweed as a value-added product. Globally, the seaweed mariculture industry is huge and is fast expanding and evolving. The sector is dynamic. It's worth billions of dollars, and the association recognizes this and sees potential in the industry in Belize.
Here in Belize,
Belize is perhaps the first country in the world to formally declare robotics a sport. Today, Rodwell Ferguson, the Minister of Sports, made the announcement.
Belize has been taking the lead in many aspects. Number one, the Prime Minister was successful to restructure this Wabon into a Blue Bun, and many other countries are following suit. And now we have taken the lead in making robotics a sport. Ever since the thing came up from Switzerland last year, Mrs. Usher was talking to me about how can we make it a sport. I also applaud the idea, and I will talk to the National Sports Council Board and the director likewise and figure out how it can become formal. And so they met last week, and they all agreed that we should make it a sport. So Belize has taken the lead, and I believe other countries will follow suit.
Jamie Usher, the principal of Belize High School and a partner of First Robotics, received official documentation from the minister to launch the nation's first robotics federation. Usher, Godfrey Sosa, and the team at BHS have been leading the charge in expanding the reach of the sport across the country.
Part of our first experience started in 2018 when we did the first global competition in Mexico City. Since then, experience with FIRST has been a highly organized, very competitive, socially responsible experiment in science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And why not bring that to as many Belizean students as possible? Part of our initiative has involved a national competition every year, but we are intent on having that grow. So what we want to do is be inclusive while appreciating diversity. So a big push was endorsing sport and at the same time launching a federation.
Robotics requires hard work and commitment like any other sporting discipline. It also requires a great deal of skills and strategy. Competitors are not physically playing the game like hitting a ball or running a race. They are, however, engaged in constructing these robots and controlling them. They must be able to build competition-worthy robots that can complete tasks required in the game. In November, Usher and her team will officially launch the Belize Robotics Federation.
Under the federation, you could be an adult robotics enthusiast, and you could serve in different capacities like volunteering and helping event coordination in the different districts. You could be a community group, like we have the Fort George Robo Blazers, that will be a community group. So they're a group of robotics students that started with us in our summer camp, but they're from a bunch of different schools. So if the school doesn't have a team, there's a way to form a community team. Then if we have a team like St. John's or Palote, elementary schools like St. Joseph, Holy Redeemer, all of those are welcome under the Federation umbrella, that they could register and become a legitimate robotics engineer.
For these but we're wrapping up now. All right.
All right, and those were our award-winning videos. And we can see why they won those awards. They were exceptional.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for enjoying this event with me and being able to host this morning show. It's incredible, and congratulations again.
Yes, definitely, Lisa. We want to thank you for joining us and for agreeing to be a part of our set this morning. As often we say that in this industry, it's a baptism by fire. And I say that to say that this is your first time hosting the morning show. You've been on as a guest before, but this is your first time hosting. And
it's quite different being on the other side
and
asking the questions instead of being asked. But
yeah,
it was incredible, so thank you.
And I'm sure you'll become a usual face, you'll become a usual voice as you're a part of the Channel 5 family now. And you just have up to go from here. It'll just get better and better and better. And so it's about you deciding to be courageous enough to say yes, like you said earlier, and take on this challenge. And that's exactly what we need to grow and develop this industry and bring new, young, influential faces like yourself. So thank you so much. But with that, we're going to wrap up this show for this morning. The time is 8:31. The date is Wednesday, August 14th, which means that there's somebody out there celebrating a birthday. If you're celebrating a birthday, we'd like to say happy birthday to you. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you could always drop us a line at OYE, open your eyes at channel5belize.com. You can also catch us on Facebook every single day live right here. Even tomorrow, you can join us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes Belize or on Instagram at OYE Belize. With that, we're going to say goodbye from Placencia.
Beautiful Placencia.
Yeah, the beautiful Placencia, because when you see us tomorrow, we are going to be back in studio. I believe so. Yes, we're going to be back in studio tomorrow, right there in Belize City. But until then, so we want to ask you to join us tomorrow, where you open your eyes and start your morning right. But until then, at least we have a saying that we wrap up the show with. I say, be sure to keep your eyes, your minds, and you say, your heart open. Yeah, your hearts open.
Open.
Excellent. And so with that, we're going to say goodbye. See you all tomorrow. Take care.
Was brought to you by SMART, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.